My people, some of them have run away into the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are. Perhaps they are freezing to death. I want to have time to look for my children and see how many I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs! I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever.
Power. That's what we traded our humanity for. We traded our humanity for the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or course of events. We traded our humanity so that we can control others' lives, so that we feel superior to those around us. That is the root cause of man's humanity to man. Power. Our desire for power is what enables us to behave so barbaric towards one another. We let nothing get in our way and will tear anything apart that blocks our path. Man's inhumanity to man has been occurring since the beginning of the human race and takes on many forms. The Middle Ages, from 476 AD to 1492, wealth was rare. 85% of the population was classified as peasants. They lived in poverty, working long days, and had to swear an oath to their lord guaranteeing their labor, and were tortured if they disobeyed. It was custom that nobles in England and other countries had great power over the common people to maintain their own elevated positions in society. The feudal system made sure that things stayed the same. In the 15th to 17th centuries, witch hunts were in session. The so-called witches were accused to be able to perform magic to cure disease, counter malevolent sorcery, identify enemies, foretell the future, and locate treasure and lost property. To determine guilt or innocence, a method was devised called swimming the witch. Any woman that floated was burned to ashes so that her inner sorcery could truly be destroyed. The result? An estimated 40,000 to 60,000 people were executed. Why did we feel that witch hunts were necessary? The answer: we were too afraid of people who possessed an ability that was unfamiliar or unobtainable for most. And so our solution? Eliminate the threat. Society feared that those who had potential to overpower the quote-unquote normal people, and as a result, we resorted to witch hunts to ensure that nobody could have the dominance that the present wealthy people had. However, our desire for power arose far before the Middle Ages. Humans are the species that rise above all else. We evolved by proving our dominance, by competing with other species, by achieving such high power. Almost 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens began walking the earth and competed not only with other species, but each other. Tribes fought for resources and territory. This instinct continues in modern humans, but presents itself in different forms. We saw in the beginning of this video Chief Joseph delivering his surrender speech on behalf of his First Nations group. Before Europeans arrived in North America, our land that we stand on today was already occupied by indigenous people. These people were open to sharing the land and believed that living in harmony could be achieved. On the other hand, the Europeans had no intention of being equals with the natives. People such as Chief Joseph and his tribe were forced out of their homes. They were set on fire, deadly diseases were passed on to their people, outright wars began to attain land and ultimately power. In the removal of other groups, the European settlers established the land as their own to ensure that they would be seen as the almighty superiors. This unfairness was only recently formally addressed by Stephen Harper's official apology on Canada's behalf on June 11, 2008. Yet still, natives' living conditions haven't improved. Now, however, wars have advanced in their ability to annihilate the enemy. We've created machine guns, bombs, and nuclear missiles, all for the purpose of total destruction. September 1st, 1939, the day World War II began. What did over 80 million men die for? What could have driven their leaders to sacrifice so many lives? Well, all wars start for a reason. Hitler started World War II because of the potential economic and territorial gain Germany could have benefited from. It was his plan to take over adjacent countries, such as Poland, and claim it as Germany's own. This act of invasion that results from war allows the winner to have more power over a greater portion of the world. Wars are fueled by our power-hungry attitudes and causes us to inflict the greatest of inhumane behavior thinkable. The weapons used, such as atomic bombs, rifles, atomic machinery, and missiles, are used against the enemy to diminish their power by taking away their land, destroying possessions, and killing their people. The bomb Little Boy, dropped on Hiroshima, marked the end of the war because America had made it quite clear how strong and ruthless their country is, and left Japan feeling vulnerable and powerless. Although people's inevitable desire for power isn't always portrayed on such a large scale, social norms and everyday behaviors that we see as deviant yet not unusual are present in our own society. As children, unfortunately, playground bullying is not uncommon. Any form of bullying involves a bully degrading their victim in order to present themselves as the dominant figure in comparison. Even at such a young age, children can create situations to make themselves feel more powerful and to make sure that the people around them feel the same. All forms of bullying aim to diminish the victim's confidence and establish dominance. Even high school gossip is stimulated by the want for status and empowerment. Verbal bullying or gossip is meant to demean someone and give others that much more control of their lives. Beyond this, some people also subject their partners for this behavior. In domestic abuse, the goal is to assert dominance on one side of the relationship. People will insult, beat, and emotionally abuse their partners because they crave that feeling of superiority. Corruption that we see in business companies are also examples of man's great wish for power. Though businessmen and other people in a position of authority in a business may know that some of the deals and actions that they perform within their workplace are unethical and unlawful, they will look past it to achieve their goal. In conclusion, the cause of man's inhumanity to man is our predisposed craving for power. The strength of our desire is like a flame that will burn anything that gets in its path on the way to the throne of power. Ever since we existed as a species, we learned that having a hierarchy is the way that we like to function. It's in our nature to go to extremities to achieve power. So when you ask yourself why Adolf Hitler did this, or why the nobles were so greedy, or why that girl in school is so mean to you today, it's because they all crave power.